Great builders and great leaders are not masculine or feminine. The best leaders I have worked for have a few things in common. They have a vision for the future that makes the world a little bit better. They're authentic, they're genuine people that you just trust because you know they'll say and do exactly, they walk it like they talk it. And they're excellent communicators and they care deeply about their product and team. It has nothing to do with our genders. I think many people might disagree with that, but that's my belief.
This is Conversations with Women in Sales, an award-winning podcast launched by Barbara Giammanco and now hosted by Laurie Richardson. Listen to interviews with amazing women about their journeys in their sales careers, often discussing sales leadership tips, ideas, and strategies. We aim to inspire women to consider or continue a sales career, and for some women to grow into sales leadership. Men, we need your support and appreciate your allyship. Now here's our host, Laurie Richardson.
I'm here today with Tracy Young, who is co-founder and CEO of Tiger Eye, which is a really awesome company. We just saw them at the Emblaze show this past week, and I wanted to welcome you, Tracy. It's so great to meet you.
It's so nice to see you again, Laurie, and I'm so happy you invited me to your show.
Yeah, it's wonderful. You have been a leader in some tech roles, and I really want to hear more about your journey. I know that you were also CEO, co-founder at PlanGrid, but you started in construction management. Is that right? What did you think you were going to do when you left school?
I wanted to be in the field building buildings. I was a construction engineer by training. I spent 5 years helping build hospital construction projects and saw a problem in the field and ended up building a solution to help with the construction process.
That's great. And that turned into PlanGrid, and you ran that for a number of years.
Almost 10 years.
Wow.
And then I was a VC for a hot second, and it takes a certain type of crazy to want to start a company again. And that's what we did. We're a husband and wife team. And we started Tiger Eye a few years ago.
That's fantastic. And so how's it different this time around for you?
The technology is very different. The world's changed. We founded PlanGrid in 2010, 2011, and we founded Tiger Eye in 2022. So really getting to see how the world has changed and also getting to benefit from new technology. AI is top of mind for any developer right now, and seeing how we can leverage LLMs to build really cool technology for our customers.
Yeah, absolutely. And so how has it been being a woman leading a company, building a company, multiple companies, from the standpoint of, do people give you the respect? Did you have to go through some tough situations? I don't know. I'm just curious to know how that's been for you.
Yeah, you probably can't see me on this podcast, but I'm 5'3". I'm very petite. I'm an Asian woman. I worked in construction with hard hats, safety boots. I also worked in tech as the co-founder and CEO, and I never looked like my peers. And I think it was definitely hard because I always compared myself to the image I had of what a great construction leader looked like or what a great CEO and tech leader looked like. And frankly, it didn't look like me for many years, that image in my head.
Yeah.
And it took some time, but I've now realized I was really wrong about that because great builders and great leaders are not masculine or feminine. The best leaders I have worked for have a few things in common. They have a vision for the future that makes the world a little bit better. They're authentic. They're genuine people that you just trust because you know they'll say and do exactly, they walk it like they talk it. And they're excellent communicators and they care deeply about their product and team. It has nothing to do with our genders. I think many people might disagree with that, but that's my belief.
Yeah, it's interesting because in the world of business to business selling, women have been underrepresented at every level, in every role. There's talk about the missing rung, about how, women can get in at the ground level and they can probably become a manager, a sales manager of an SDR or BDR team. But then to get to that next level, that's where more men are getting promoted than women. Men are getting paid more in a lot of cases still, which I don't even understand how that happens. And that disparity goes from there. So we're working toward an inclusive world where we have, in business anyway, we have women and men that are leading teams. We think that our backgrounds go well together because as women, I believe we think differently and we do things differently. I would be interested in your opinion on that. And when we all work together, we actually do better than if it was just all men or even all women. What do you think about that?
There's so much research. I don't even have to have an opinion here. There's
Right.
just enough research showing that the smartest teams just have people from different perspectives.
Yeah.
And the male perspective and the female perspective together makes for a smarter team.
Yeah. Yeah. And for years, when I came up in sales, we tried to imitate men and we wore suits and dark suits and shoulder pads, and which is so funny when I think about it now. Of course,
It's funny. Yeah, with enough time goes by and what was in vogue 20 years ago becomes in vogue again. And I think especially with the current events and the current dialogue that is happening, it's funny. You see women's suits back in style.
Interesting. That's interesting. I've been in my home office too long. But yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I actually have noticed that now that you mention it. And yeah, so we don't need to be like men. We need to be ourselves. And I wonder, did you have that imposter syndrome? You said that you've come around to seeing yourself as a leader, but it took a while.
Yeah. I'm 40 years old now. I am a mother now of 4 kids, and they are my teachers every single day.
Yeah.
And I think life is just too short. And that as parents, right? You just see the kids grow up and it's, whoa, how did that happen? You were just a baby. You're just a baby. How did you get so big? And you really see time evaporate in front of you. And so I just believe that life is too short to be someone else. Actually, we don't, even if we are lucky enough to live the entire spans of our lives, there's not that much time left.
Yeah.
At least not to what I want. I want 500 years here. Maybe that's too much. But yeah, life is too short to try to be someone else. The best we can do is just to be present, to have the courage to be exactly ourselves, because it's just going to make for a happier life.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes so much sense. Did you have any hesitation about starting a company, founding a business, and then doing it a second time? When that's a hard route. And I'm sure you learned a lot the first time that you could leverage the second time.
Yeah, the first time around was really scary. Quitting a good paying job in construction. I was an engineer. I was getting paid well at 24 years old. I could buy whatever I want. My cash burn was pretty low, of course. And I was surprised by how supportive my parents were. And they were business owners. And I think that's the reason why. They also didn't like me working in construction. We don't like you being a job site full of men. Like they wanted their baby girl doing something else. But it was scary. And in the end, it wasn't that scary, especially at that age, because my personal burn was low. I didn't have a mortgage. I didn't have a car payment. I didn't have kids to like buy stuff for. It was just me. And supporting me, especially living at my parents' home or on my friends' couches, was very cheap. And so it was the perfect time to take a risk like that. And I think you can still do it later on in life, even with more responsibilities.
Yeah.
But being able to take care of the basics is the most important. So if you can keep your personal burn rate low, then you have time to figure out an entire business. And the worst that can happen is the business doesn't work out, at which point you've made enough mistakes where you've just learned a lot more in that year or 2 years. But it's a real trade-off. I've had this conversation with many women actually who have thought about founding a company over the years, or their friends trying to convince them to quit their jobs. And a lot of them have told me, I really like my quality of life. I really like my fancy apartment in New York City. It costs a lot, and I'm not willing to give that up. Let me tell you, for both of the companies that I've founded, I don't take a salary. I don't pay myself. So yeah, it might mean that you can't afford that fancy apartment in New York. And so it's just, you really have to ask yourself, what do you want to do? And for me, building a company a second time, I wanted to make sure that I didn't regret it on my deathbed, because we were thinking about it so much and we were talking about it so much. And you know what? We're still young enough to do this. We still have energy in us. Let's just try.
Oh, that's fantastic. And so, what are your goals for the company right now that you can share with us?
We have a couple more products on the roadmap for this year that we would really like to launch. And Tiger Eye is modern business intelligence for go-to-market teams. There's some more really cool functionality for finance leaders and marketing leaders and sales leaders that we would like to add. And I'm really excited about it. Our goals is to launch our roadmap this year and actually deliver it.
That's awesome. And what inspires you? What do you read or hear when you need the jolt of inspiration?
I really like drinking warm things. So just a nice cup of tea, uncaffeinated. I'm so intense in general. I do not need to be hopped up on caffeine and jolted in that way. So drinking something warm and then just listening to good music. My flavor of music is jazz and classical.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I would agree with you. I think that those can be very helpful when I'm working too. I like to hear that when I'm working. Yeah, that's very similar. And is the company all remote?
We are remote, but we have pockets of density. Like San Francisco Bay Area has a density, New York, New Jersey has a density, Portland has a density, San Diego's actually has a growing density as well.
Yeah. And then elsewhere in the world?
Elsewhere in the world, yes. We have some team members in El Salvador as well.
Oh, cool. That's great. I love that. What advice do you have for women who maybe they're in a sales role, maybe they want to climb to the C-suite, or they're not even sure it's possible. What would you say to them?
It is totally possible. There's a lot of examples. I know they are the minority, but there's lots of amazing examples of women CROs who are in the role, making the decisions, and they are crushing it. I have a podcast called Path to Growth, and we've interviewed several of them. So that's a little commercial for Path to Growth here.
Oh, that's great. We'll
And
put a
so
link to it. So,
I think representation, of course, matters, right? So know that it is possible, but these women also had to work very hard. You asked me earlier the types of BS that you didn't say BS, but I am using that word. I've had to go through, and there are people who are going to doubt you or discriminate against you because you are a woman, who will treat you differently. But I promise you, this is the minority. And there are plenty more people who don't care how you look and just care about your output and the impact you're making for the company. And so I would just focus on the goal at hand and have your eyes on the prize and just do what you do best and constantly figure out how to become a better version of yourself as a salesperson, as a sales manager, as a sales leader, and make it so that it would hurt if that company lost you, because then you have leverage. You get to choose the type of people you get to work with. And if anyone thinks of sexism or racism at all, run, go somewhere else, work for someone better. You get to have that choice if you make yourself invaluable.
I think that's the one thing I regretted was that I had 23 sales managers in my sales career. And I always say that some were awesome, but a lot were awful. And you don't have to put up with those bad scenarios. I talked to a woman not too long ago who had a new role, and she was asking around the company, trying to learn about the different departments and teams. And her direct supervisor told her not to talk to anybody except him. And I'm like, that's abusive. That's crazy. Like, you don't,
That's some flag. That's some thick control that they want. Yeah. To talk to your teammates, that's a bit too much. Exactly. So if you smell of anything like that's a great example, Lori, run.
Yeah. Yes. Run.
And
And
work really hard. If you're worried that someone else isn't going to hire you or for whatever reason you have that insecurity, just work really hard, get to your numbers,
yeah.
and someone else is going to want to hire you.
Yes. Because your numbers will speak for you. Yeah. It's amazing. That's the other thing is track your numbers and track your progress and quantify it on your LinkedIn because a lot of people don't have that spelled out about what they've accomplished. If they are in any kind of a revenue role, even if it's customer success and they're doing upsells and cross sells and things like that, those are important things that will help people get their next role. Very important. Any other words of wisdom that you might have?
I think for women at any stage of their life, like being a professional and being a woman is whatever their journey might be, whether they're a mom or whether they are not a mom, it doesn't matter. It's just, it's going to be hard. And then, of course, the male experience is different. I just don't, I'm not familiar with that. And I would say, don't forget to take care of number one. And I really think that taking care of yourself looks like eating healthy, finding time to exercise, even if it's just walking a mile, hydrating, getting enough sleep, stop going on social media because I really think it's bad for the soul. Listen to some music, do the stuff you love, and take care of yourself. Because if you can take care of number one, if number one can show up as her best self, you're going to be able to do a much better job leading or just in your work in general. And I think too often women are so busy taking care of other people that they put themselves secondary. All the time I've seen this. And of course we have responsibilities, but we also are just going to be better versions of ourselves if we are healthy and we have the energy.
Yeah, and a really good example for kids and partners when we can show that we need our own time as well, and that we're not going to sacrifice it at our own expense because we need to help all the other people. We will help all the other people, and we'll make time for ourselves because we know that's important. Yeah, that's really great advice. Tracy Young, thank you so much for joining us for this short time. People can go to Tiger Eye. We'll have a link if they want to know more about the company. I assume that you hire sellers periodically, and so we'll make sure to let people know about that. And wishing you continued success. And thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Laurie.
I'm your announcer, Larry Long Jr., and we sincerely thank you for listening to this episode of Conversations with Women in Sales, encouraging you to share an episode with all of your friends and your favorite male allies. Let's work together to change the face of sales. Until next time, you can find all of our episodes at womensalespros.com/podcast.